Hello, Year 9. Now, unfortunately today I can't be here. I have a meeting at another school, but I want to give you some information for what we're doing with regards to continuing our assessment. Now, there's no new information here. This is stuff we've gone through before, so it shouldn't be too difficult for us. All right. Now, I'll remind you of a few things because, we've slept since we last looked at these essay structures. And just to let you know that I want you to do what you can today. You can certainly do your introduction and you can certainly start planning one of your P paragraphs. If you do need us to check through your overall structure with me, that's fine. We can do that next time. But for today, I just want to get his introduction done and I want us to start planning our next paragraphs. All right. So this is what I'd like us to work on today. We're going to be writing an essay of between 700 to 900 words, and that is a strict word limit. So if one of your P paragraphs is already quite long, you might want to cut it down maybe by taking out a quotation. There's easily enough here for a short introduction and a short conclusion. We'll talk about that in a second. We're going to have an introduction, we're going to have 3 P paragraphs, and we're going to have a conclusion, all right? And I would say that your introduction and conclusion should be no more than 100 words, all right? The example I've given you is very detailed and it's 99 words long, all right? So again, it can be done. So remember, we have an introduction. We answer the question, we set out what we're going to write about. I'll talk more about introductions in a second, and I've got a nice example for you. We've already written our first P paragraph. We just need to do 2 more, and then we need to finish with a conclusion. Now, don't worry about the conclusion just yet. We're not thinking about that yet. We're just getting the introduction done and our P paragraphs done. All right. Remember which essay title you selected. It should be at the top of your work, so you're always reminded of it. And it's a good idea, like I have, to highlight the key words, just so your brain is always focused on what it is you're trying to do and you don't go off topic. And that's not just for this, that's for all long form exam questions and all essays that you'll do in English. So 2 possible approaches for structuring an essay. Now, a lot of you have already done this. You've already planned out your whole essays because you did it when you were coming up with your first P paragraph, all right? So some of you have already got this. Some of you might not have done. Remember we said there's a thematic response where we look at the major ideas, or there's a chronological response where we just go through the play, beginning, middle, end. I know I've not finished the play, but you should have read enough for good examples for you to write your essay. There's nothing wrong with you if you have read ahead or if you know the upcoming scenes. If you want to quote from that, you can. Just be aware that we've not actually studied that, all right, yet. Okay, we've got Act 5 to get through together. Now, you've probably already decided which one you're going to use. If you are a little bit insecure, I would definitely suggest going for a chronological response. Just look at the beginning, the middle, and the end of the play, okay? That's an easy way to do it. So what we have to do, first of all, is we have to refine the structure of the essay. So what are our points going to be? Now, as I've said, some of you will have already got this or done this or certainly have a good idea about what it is you're going to write for each of your 3 points. You should have already done one. Well, you all have done one. So you need to be absolutely clear about this. You need to decide whether you're using a chronological or thematic structure for your essay and what each of your 3 points will be about in your final essay. You also need to make sure that the points are in a logical order. So obviously you're not going to start with Act 5 and then move to Act 2. That'd be weird. And write them out with full sentences. So don't be lazy with this scene. All right. I see a lot of people like just putting note form for their points. And it's your point that has to be the most crystal clear because that's the foundation of your entire paragraph. Remember what I said last time? If you don't get your point right, the whole paragraph may well be off. So remember in my example, I'm writing about Tybalt because that's not an option that you guys have, so you can't copy me. So these are the 3 points. My first P paragraph was this. In Act 1, Scene 1, Tybalt is introduced as a violent and passionate antagonist. My second point, in my second paragraph, is going to be, in Act 1, Scene 5, Tybalt's pride and loyalty to the Capulet house is clearly demonstrated. And 3, Tybalt's ego and irrational hatred leads to his demise in Act 3, Scene 1, which is the climax, where he dies. So that's my overall structure. And I'm happy with that. It's in a good logical order. I'm ready to move on. That's the first thing you need to do. Now, if you do this, but you're not quite 100% sure, or you do want to check something with me, don't worry about it. We'll talk about it next lesson. All right. I'll have an open door policy to talk to people next time when we're working on this. All right. But certainly today you can get your introduction done, and you can certainly start planning your next P paragraph. All right. So step 2, writing that introduction. So your introduction should be under 100 words. Shouldn't be any more than 100 words, otherwise you're going to run out of words. And it should contain the following. All right. Even 75 words is fine. Okay. A brief introduction to the play and a focus on your essay. Your thesis statement, what you want to prove about your chosen character or theme. So what are you arguing for? And then just briefly, very briefly, just mention what you're going to argue. All right. What are your main points? Okay. A good introduction should always answer the question and should not provide irrelevant context, such as Shakespeare wrote 37 plays. That's not answering the question. It's not helping us understand the character or the theme. So this is an example that I wrote for you. So again, I've got my essay title at the top, and I've highlighted my key words in that question, all right? Because that's very good practice to do that. So I've got, explore the character of Tybalt and the way in which Shakespeare crafts him using language and structure. So I need to talk about the character of Tybalt and what he does in the play. That's what I need to answer. So the character of Tybalt is an antagonist of Shakespeare's 1597 tragedy, Romeo and Juliet. The play is much concerned with the passions of love and hate. So I've introduced the play very quickly there. I've introduced the date of it very easily. And I've introduced the main theme, passions of love and hate. And Tybalt personifies the destructive rage between two warring families, the Montagues and Capulets. So you see how I'm mentioning here the actual plot, but not going into crazy detail. I'm just mentioning what he does as a character. He personifies the destructive rage between two families. Tybalt is a proud member of the Capulet family. That's what I'm going to argue. My first point is going to be that he's the antagonist, remember? My second is that he's a proud member of the Capulet family. And my third is that this rage and violence leads to his downfall, and this pride that he has in himself and his family. Tybalt is a proud member of the Capulet family, and it is arrogance, aggression, and pride in his family and their reputation that leads to his downfall and death. I could stop there. That's absolutely fine. That's a great intro. It answers the question. It introduces my main arguments, and it introduces the play and the main plot points. All right. That's enough. I've done all 3 things that I said I would on the last page. See, I've done a brief introduction. I've got my thesis statement, what I think Tybalt is, and an overview of the main ideas that I'm going to be using in my argument. So I've done that. I just added a little bit here, another sentence, just talking about Shakespeare's craft, just to make sure that I'm really, really clearly answering the question. So Shakespeare uses the character of Tybalt to exacerbate tensions between the two families, and it is his death that forms an integral part of the tragedy's climactic events. Okay, so I've just added that on. Doesn't need to be there. If my word count's too high, that is what I would get rid of first, that last sentence. So it does everything that it should do. So I want you to write your introduction using this structure, using this approach, and you've got these slides as well to help you and this example to help you. And remember, don't use first person. I will be writing about, I will be doing this. Don't do that. Stick to third person. Just talk about the play. Then what you need to do is we need to get back to our planning structure. So you can just copy and paste whatever you've done before. We need another 2. We need our second P paragraph and we need our third P paragraph. So you're going to be completing this table another 2 times. 1 for the second paragraph, 1 for your third paragraph, all right? Just exactly as we did for the formative assessment. So you're going to have your point. That's going to be your second point. And remember, it's color-coded like a traffic light. So we've got our red point at the top, although it looks kind of orange on that, but it's meant to be red. Then we've got our evidence. So we're going to pick at least 3 pieces of evidence. Then we're going to identify the techniques. Then we're going to do some analysis. Remember to comment on the audience and Shakespeare's message. All right. So today, what I want you to get done is to write your introduction and to start planning your second, and if you can, if you've got time, your third P paragraphs. We're not doing anything else until these plans are finished. And as you know from the formative assessment, this is you writing your assessment. When we've got these plans finished and they're detailed, writing them out into actual paragraphs is easy. This is the hard part. The hard part is finding good evidence. The hard part is analysing it and giving all that lovely detailed analysis. Okay, that's the challenging bit. Once you've got that, you just write it out in nice paragraphs. That's easy. Okay, so that's what I want you to do today. So just to recap, I want you to go through these notes clearly, make sure you understand it, follow the steps that I've given you, and then I want you to write your introduction, less than 100 words, and I want you to start planning your second and third P paragraphs. If you have any problems or questions, you can email me, but I am in meetings this afternoon and I will not be able to get back to you until tonight. So please do what you can with your introduction and with the planning, all right? And then if we need to make adjustments, we can. Okay? Thank you very much, everyone, and I will catch you next time.